constituents in the chemicals at all, it's the same thing, which again is that misnomer of we put the word medical in front of something, it changes our thought process, but it's the same thing. It's like me saying that I ate the eggs out of that container, those were medical eggs, but you ate the eggs out of the other container, and those were just regular eggs.
Good morning, my name is Victoria. I'm a junior at St. Stephen's, and I want to know how can increased potency help and or hurt those who take marijuana for medical purposes?
Okay, how can increased potency help or hurt those that use for medical marijuana purposes? Okay. Well, there's no conclusive evidence that marijuana works at all. In fact, even some of the medications that are available and going through IND trial right now are not working. They may work for a little bit and then the individuals tank and they can't quite figure out why. But what's great about that too is it's going through our 21st century science, our medication protocol that we follow, and so we can figure out through science and physicians what's happening and what can we do to adjust. THC is very damaging to brains. For youth specifically, I get concerned because their brains and actually all of your organs are not developed until your mid-20s. So again, we're not dealing with that low potency marijuana. Who cares? It's no big deal. I just got a little high. We're dealing with extremely potent marijuana, and we are already seeing the link between mental health conditions. And actually, I have quite a few colleagues that sadly their kids were great. There were no issues, no problems. They started using marijuana and they ended up having psychotic breaks, and they've never been the same. It's very, very dangerous. The thing is that people say, oh, well, it helps me. Well, there's many pharmaceuticals that can induce euphoria and think that they help you. Unfortunately, again, we have no conclusive evidence. And thankfully, though, we do not base our medicine on anecdotes. We base it on science. So we still need to continue to look and study that plant. Remember, it has over 500 chemicals. So we need to figure out which chemical is targeting what, where, how, and by what. And we can't do that by validation. I hope that answered it.
Good morning. My name is Hannah. I'm a freshman at Bayshore High School. My question is, how is this amendment different from California's law?
How is this amendment different from California's law? Actually, ours is more loosely written than California. California allowed different municipalities to decide and choose where things were going to be located. California actually didn't have, or no, it's Colorado that didn't have edibles listed. They didn't have food listed, so they were able to ban. California has more restrictions than ours does, so ours will actually be worse looking. And you saw the images of the dispensaries and people and the advertisements and the products there in California. So unfortunately, our amendment is more loosely written.
Hello, I'm Robbie, of course you know. In terms of the economy, how will the negatives outweigh the positives?
Okay, economy, how will the negatives outweigh the positives?
In terms of the amendment.
In terms of the amendment, that's the question, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There's this grand misnomer that, oh, we'll be able to tax it, we'll be able to regulate it, we'll be able to put this money into our school systems, etc. The problem is, and we know this through alcohol and tobacco and our other legal drugs, for every dollar that we get in tax revenue from those products, another 10 go out in social costs. We do hear, and Robbie, that's a good question actually, we do hear, oh, well, Colorado made all this money, and they are able to put it into their school systems, but what they don't tell you is how much it costs to put that infrastructure in place to run that industry. They don't tell you how much money is actually being put out in the social issues with the increased car crashes, emergency room visits, struggling schools with their discipline problems. If Denver were a state, it has the highest youth use rates. So it sounds great, and that's a good question because many people think, oh, this is great, we get all this tax revenue. They don't tell you what's going on the back end of it and how expensive it is. I mean, and look at the nightmare we've already been having here in our state with the Department of Health. It doesn't pay off. It doesn't pan out.
Hello, my name is Marisol, and my question is, how will this affect access for kids like us?
Hold the mic up. Hold the mic up.
How will it affect access for kids like us?
Okay, how will it affect access for kids like us? Do Do you have any 18-year-old friends? Okay, there you go. Bam, access. You know, if you have an 18-year-old sibling, access. There's 3 indelible truths with anything, and I don't care if it's a breakfast bar or a water station or marijuana or anything. When you increase access, you increase advertising, you increase positive attitudes, you're going to increase use. I don't care what it is, you can use that formula for anything. So, what's happening with youth, again, when we look at states that have medical marijuana laws, the youth use rates are much higher than other states because we've allowed that permissive, it's okay, it's safe, it's natural, and it's easy for you guys to get. The difficulty with that too is that when you get them in the edibles, most kids are going to take them out of the packaging so that their parents don't know. And now you've got little siblings or younger people running around that may take them by accident. But again, you increase your access and availability, you increase advertising, you increase positive attitudes, you're going to increase use. Any other ones?
Yeah.
Dr. Spencer, I'd like for you to respond to this group, the question that I asked you this weekend regarding how to respond to the ad that is being run,
Yes.
encouraging people to support Amendment 2. And for we that are regular citizens and not in the medical arena at all, it's important for us to have a response. I'm pretty outspoken about vote no, but we need to be armed when people challenge us with that type of ad. So I'd like for you to respond to that same question that I proposed to you this weekend.
So the question is, how do you respond to someone, because I actually remember, I don't know what today is, but I do actually remember that email now. So how do you respond, or text message, how do you respond to someone that says, my child is sick, my Mima is sick, I have to have this is our only option? Well, I'm going to go back to the Drug Policy Alliance and George Soros. Their whole marketing campaign is take the moral ground from conservatives and appeal to people's hearts. So that's how they do this. And so that is a good question. And I know that our heart breaks for people that are suffering. I've suffered with medical conditions. I have family members. I get it. I totally get it. But what we can say to them is, A, here in the state of Florida, we have 3 laws that allow people to use marijuana as a medicine if they so choose, and their physician can write a recommendation for that. That is available. We have dispensaries here in the state that actually will deliver, so that is available. However, I go back to some of the previous answers of there's no conclusive evidence to say that marijuana works for anything. This is like saying that we should give someone or give our children moldy bread in lieu of penicillin because some people are allergic to penicillin and some people it just doesn't work for. But someone said that penicillin or moldy bread is the new superfood that cures everything. But that's not how we do medicine, that's not how we do science. I would also go back and just say that this, our pharmacopoeia that we have has these predictable known side effects. We know what they're targeted for. And there's way more superior drugs available than this marijuana plant. This is not how we actually do medicine. I would stay compassionate as we are, but again, many of us wouldn't argue with those conditions. But we need to look at protecting our state and making sure that we do medicine the right way. And thankfully, we do have the 3 laws available that if people, that is their last hope and they're desperate, and I totally get it, you have those mechanisms in place to help you do that. We do not need this in our Constitution. It doesn't belong there. Does that answer that question? Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. Anything else? I don't know. Okay, they said yes.
Dr. Spencer,
Yeah.
I just wanted, this isn't really a question, but I wanted to thank you for your hard work and the influence you've had on my son over the last 5 years. We had the chance to go out to Colorado this past year during spring break, and I can tell you there are more dispensaries there than there are McDonald's. They are in every corner, they are everywhere, and you can freely walk in and out of those dispensaries. And being that the language is so loose here, I can't even imagine what would happen here. So I just want to thank you for all that you do in educating this community.
Not a problem.